When you start assessing balance, the state of the game, skill discrepancies, and counterplay, often the conversation will get messy. And for a good reason. You have plenty of different perspectives while playing this game, and the thing is, you have the perspective of a bronze ADC main who plays Jinx, you have the perspective of a diamond jungler who plays Lee Sin, and you even have the perspective of a challenger mid laner who plays all types of different mages. And whenever you don't like the role or balance of another role, you get called out by saying, yeah, but you main X role, lol xd lamau, don't talk about Y role, kid. Whenever you don't like the balance of another champion, you may also get called out and someone says lol xd lamau this guy, xd lol I can't believe this guy, you main X champion, talking about how balanced and hard to play and mechanically gifted Y mains have to be to even get out of silver, which I did, by the way. This season I am gold 351 LP, high elo player, now top 25%, hashtag yang gang. And recently this was something that I noticed when looking at a tweet by Mo. He was arguably quite upset about the strong state and longevity of Kai'Sa's power. And as soon as he released this tweet, we can scroll down to a cesspool of comments exactly tailored to point out that someone cannot talk about something because they play something else. A LeBlanc main who agrees with Mo, LB mains Lamau. Yasuo mains complaining about balance. Alright, settle down buddy, you've abused Akali, Sylas, Aurelia, and Yasuo, I wouldn't type anymore. Coming from a Yas main, bro, other ADCs need buffs, she isn't the issue, lol, says the Yas player, followed by a whole bunch of nonsense, followed by nerf Yasuo 2K19, they can't nerf her, she's getting another skin next month. Well, actually that last one probably is correct. If you don't like looking at pro play, let's start with solo queue. On patch 9.17, in Diamond Plus, Kai'Sa is the most picked champion in the game, with an astounding 37.3% pick rate worldwide. On top of that, she has a 13.1% ban rate, and her win rate is around 50% at 49.81. For those who do look at pro play and want to say that we should play around and balance around pros, Kai'Sa is the 7th most picked champion in pro play during the summer split, and plenty of other champions who are in a similar boat as her, the best example being Sejuani, have not only been nerfed multiple times but actually kind of gutted, with Sejuani taking a lot of hits this year. These numbers to me are pretty unreal. If you combine her pick rate and ban rate, Kai'Sa has over a 50% presence in solo queue. This is supposed to be a hard champion, according to the people who play ADC and play Kai'Sa. They talk about how she was supposed to be the new Vayne, the new high skill cap hard to learn hybrid ADC. But I'm asking, how is it possible that a champion who has played that much, with all of the autofills, all of the first timers, all of the people who say screw this, I'm playing Kai'Sa because she's way too OP, and start learning her in ranked, can still be in that equation of 50%. It's not going to typically be like this. I think Ezreal is a perfect example. Yeah, he did just receive a big nerf, and you're right for saying that the champion is weaker now, but the champion definitely is not the single worst ADC in the game. Yet, he has a lower win rate than Kai'Sa and Varus, and actually Kalista. Ezreal has the lowest win rate in the game for Diamond Plus ADCs. The reason this happens is because not that many people have adjusted to the fact that you're supposed to be building AD, not AP anymore. This really screws over people who don't read patch notes, get autofilled ADC, see that for the last 6 months Ezreals in their game have been building Ludens, say that, you know what, I should too, and hard to play ADCs are really easy because I main Skarner jungle, the mechanical god. The point is, Kai'Sa should be around the same category of Ezreal. Even at Ezreal's peak pro play performance when he was spam picked, he had nowhere near the win rate of Kai'Sa. Traditionally, ADCs and marksmen have had a key point in their power be their ability to kite. A great reminder of how hard it can be to budget power is again when looking at Ezreal. How do you balance the game around his Q? For example, a bronze Ezreal cannot hit Q very often and probably doesn't even throw it out as soon as it's off cooldown. A pro player can throw and land Qs on cooldown with over a 90% accuracy. And if Ezreal Q does insane damage, it will feel strong in bronze, but not completely broken. If Ezreal Q does insane damage and a challenger player is playing him, then you run into a serious problem. Ezreal, however, is not a traditional ADC. He does play more like a mage. Regular marksmen have a power budget given to the players on their own ability to kite and output damage respectively. Kai'Sa's power budget is way too high for an ADC because a large portion of her ability to deal damage is not through kiting. It does not matter how much Riot overbuffs Caitlyn because for me, I would never be that Caitlyn smurf. Simple reason? Well, being really honest, I'm not a great kiter. I have never put in the time to be a good Caitlyn player, I'm not an ADC main, and I certainly don't have years of experience in that role. My strength as a player is skill shots, ability combos, and positioning on melee champions to get flanks. On ADCs and traditional marksmen, my positioning is awful. I will never be FSN Saber's Caitlyn. That guy is nuts, and I'm constantly impressed by his Caitlyn mechanics. And this is not a knock to him at all. I'm saying that it's a good thing. This shows his skill expression. The best part about League of Legends is that I will never be Saber on Caitlyn, and that's okay, because he will probably never be a Riven player himself. The beauty of the specialization is that when you give someone enough time, enough practice, and dedication to learning champions, you eventually get really dang good. Kai'Sa has the definition of an overloaded problem, because I think her Q is one of the most hazardous and dangerous things that they've ever given to an ADC. Across the board, she has far too much loaded into her kit, along with being great in most metas, since you can build AD or AP. The core problem is your damage output, how easy and safe and reliable her damage is with her Q, and the fact that W is a long-range poke ability. All of this ends up being largely what makes her deceptively easy to play. She looks like a very high mastery curve and learning curve champ because she's definitely flashy and fun, but ultimately, with how easily her damage comes out, it's not that bad. Funny enough, I think that Kadeem is also a pretty good example of this. Kadeem is one of my friends, so don't worry, there are no bad feelings towards him at all. I absolutely love Kadeem, and you should go watch his stream and sub to his channel because he actually streams here on YouTube sometimes. Anyway, Kadeem is freaking iron, and I'm telling you, I've played with Kadeem, and his best champion is totally Kai'Sa. He actually doesn't even have as many mastery points on Kai'Sa as he does Misfortune or Ashe, and he really does get out good damage on the champion, and he can use her R pretty well. He can pilot her at least to a bronze level, but honestly, I don't know if he can pilot any other ADCs above Iron, which is weird because MF used to be his best champ. We've really hit on the Q a lot, but with the introduction of the Manamune build this season for her, she's honestly even easier to play. This build was actually known and theorized for a while before it was even popular. Vandiril posted a video to YouTube about Muramana Kai'Sa back in 2018, and one season later, it's now the standard build. And the reason that it works is because of both of the passives on this item. To start, the item gives you more than the 35 AD when you buy it. You start to gain AD based on your maximum mana, which you of course gain while stacking up your tier. The item is also very cheap compared to other first items such as Storm Razor, Infinity Edge, Essence Reaver, stuff like that, so you're able to get to your second item Rageblade much quicker. Now by itself this is great, because it allows you to get your Q evolve around level 9 much easier, give or take around the 15 or 16 minute mark. This would make it worth it by itself, but if you combine that with the real big hitter of the Muramana passive, then using your Q for insane damage is a thing of the past. Now we're talking about levels of damage that just shouldn't exist. The Shock passive is a pretty unique thing in League of Legends, and for champions like Ezreal, it's great. On your autos and your Q, it's going to help add a bit of punch, and it's definitely a power spike for Ezreal. On Kai'Sa, however, this is just silly, because the Shock passive, where it applies on single target abilities, counts for each one of your little shots for Q. This is a pretty similar interaction for how this item combines with Runaan's Hurricane, and Kai'Sa, by the way, if you really wanted to, can build full crit with Muramana, Runaan's, and Infinity Edge. If some of the things we mentioned today weren't strong enough, the fact that she can build Phantom Dancer, Guardian Angel and Zhonya's all effectively and easily might just be unfair. I understand that part of what makes the game balanceable for ADCs and the reason that it was ADC useless role for a long time is that they didn't really have defensive tools such as Phantom Dancer's new shield, but because she can build all three, it leaves her room to counter many different types of divers. If you want to counter Riven with the Phantom Dancer shield, you can do that. If you want to counter Zed with Zhonya's, you can do that. If you want to counter tanks getting on you and just output a lot of damage before you die, you can build GA. On top of that, she has easily one of the most overloaded kits in the game with all of these different things in her abilities. She was just nerfed this patch, but in all honesty, this isn't really much of a nerf. It's more like a slap on the wrist, more like a timeout before getting back into the action. And I think that Riot has a lot of motivation for doing this, as she currently is League of Legends' most popular champion, as well as very popular in competitive. On top of that, last year she must have sold so many KDA skins, on top of having a Prestige Edition skin, tons of IG skins, and arcade skins this year, and in all honesty is probably going to receive another skin from whoever wins Worlds, something like G2 Kai'Sa. She also has plenty, and I mean plenty, of chromas to go around. To me, she's like the new Yasuo. She's League of Legends' new poster child. She's more modern than a lot of the old poster champions, so it looks good to have her on there since she's pretty update with the times. On top of that, she appeals to the high skill cap mains, the weebs, and the casual players, since again, she isn't a Zir level of difficult to pick up right away. Whether selling skins or not, I think it's within Riot's pay grade to make champions feel more fair to play against, and while that certainly might be hypocritical coming from a dirty Riven main, you might have me there, but at least I'll be the first one to tell you that Riven is a broken champ. However, what is broken can be reforged, so don't forget that.